Hey everyone, it's Sarah here with the Sisters Enchanted. Just give me 1 second while I get situated. I don't know if any of you are familiar with Facebook Live, but you have to, I'm on my cell phone and my cell phone's also plugged in, which creates a challenge with trying to get my phone to stand up straight while I'm talking on it. Okay, let's see here. Got some nice candles lit over here that nobody can see. All right. I think we're good. Okay, so I am, like I said, Sarah with the Sisters Enchanted, bringing you this week of the Chakra Foundations class with us. Let me just, I also have my computer here in front of me so I don't forget anything that I want to talk about or get too sidetracked and whatnot. Okay, and I also have our Facebook group pulled up in front of me on the computer so I can look at that in case anything pops up while we're chatting. Okay. My phone's still not staying upright. Let me see. There you go. Stapler propping it up for the win. Hi, Leslie. Okay, so here's what we're going to do today. I'm going to just quick introduce myself, tell you a little bit about who I am and what we're doing here. Hi, Cheryl. And then we will talk about the chakras. So to begin, and while people start coming on, I am Sarah Waka, like I said, one of the founders of the Sisters Enchanted. So I founded the Sisters Enchanted along with my sister Anna, who's my real life sister, to create a community for like-minded, spiritual, magical women all around the world to come together as a community of enchanted sisters everywhere. So we know how hard it can be to find people in your local community that are like-minded and who don't look at you cross-eyed when you talk about chakras or tarot cards or, you know, lighting some candles at the full moon or something. So we created this community as a safe space for women to come together all around the world. So when you're in the group, we hope that you feel free to post questions about anything that you've got on your mind, from tarot to magic to even spells and manifesting to chakras. We are open and affirming to all kinds of people here. As long as you are nice to others and you keep your vibe high in the group, then you're free to ask questions and comment and just have some fun. So that is the Sisters Enchanted. So we offer free classes and free stuff all the time. We also do offer paid classes, so you'll hear about those when we have those coming up. But we offer free stuff all the time, so definitely get comfy, hang in there, and enjoy the stuff that we offer, as we offer tons of it. So we are here today for Chakra Foundations. So this class, if you read your email, is delivered over email each day this week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. You'll receive an email. I know that I wasn't really thinking straight, I think, when I picked this week because it's so close to the holidays. So whether you celebrate traditional Christmas or whether you celebrate Yule or another holiday around this time of year, I do apologize for having this so close to the holiday season. I don't know, like I said, it seemed, I think with Christmas being on a Sunday, it seems like it's never coming, and so it didn't like stand out in my calendar. So I was like, oh, let's do this week. But because of that, I'm leaving all of the videos in the group will be up for you to catch up on until next Wednesday. And you may have read on the sign up page or your email that there are some prizes up for grabs for active participants in the class. And the reason that I'm offering prizes for active participants is that I know that it can be really easy to sign up for these online classes. I've done it before myself, kind of cool, and kind of fizzled out, dwindled out, and not completed the information. So when you don't have a classroom to go to, I totally understand that it can be really easy to just like kind of bow out and forget about it. So I want to make it, there's to have some motivation for you to show up and participate and learn something while you're here. So my way of doing that is by offering prizes. So in order to do that, you just have to participate in whatever the task of the day is. So each email will have something called today's task in the email. And it's really easy stuff. It's nothing hard. And it shouldn't take too super long to do or anything. And you just post in the group, either on your own post or in the comments that, hi Sarah, that you know, what your insight is or whatever the reflection is I asked you to do. So just post it in the group. It is helpful to me if you put in your comment somewhere or in your post, Chakra Foundations day and then the number of the day, so that I can find it. So with over 1,000 people in the group and so many people participating, it's a tall order for me to keep track of every comment, and I just simply will not be able to do that. So if you write Chakra Foundations and the day in your comment or your post, then I can search through them. But I'm super active in the group, so I'll definitely, if you're participating every day, I'll definitely know about it. So up for grabs for the prizes are a chakra candle set, a chakra oracle card set, and I think a chakra crystal set I chose. So those will, so you have until Wednesday though, because I know, like I said, I pushed this right after the holidays, which was kind of crazy pants of me. So you have until Wednesday though to watch the videos and get caught up, so no pressure to, you know, run home and put your family aside or something to watch my videos. Please live your life and catch up when you can. So that is the class, how it's going to be delivered. I did mention before and in the emails that I aim for 2 o'clock each weekday to come on and talk to you all. This could change. I am a mom of a 2-something-year-old, almost 2.5-year-old. I am expecting baby number 2 in May, and you know, things get crazy. So I aim for 2 o'clock every day. If it's going to be, you know, out of like a 10-minute time frame of 2 o'clock, I will definitely let you know. And if I'm really changing it for some reason, I apologize, but the videos will be in here. So if you can't catch me live, it's totally cool. You can always leave your comments and questions and I'll still answer them. But I am aiming for 2 o'clock each day this week. So I think I have covered all of the, looking at I have notes so I don't forget things. All of my technical things I want to talk about. So let's talk about chakras and the root chakra and all the things we talked about today in the email. So the big takeaway from today, well, we did talk about the root chakra in the email. I need to like lift this up. It's killing my neck. Well, we did talk about the root chakra in the email. I'm just going to hold it for a minute today. The big takeaway for you today actually is that chakras work as a system. So the chakras can be found in literature. So this is something that, sorry, I'm jumping around everywhere. Did I mention that I'm expecting baby number 2? A little crazy. So chakras are something that some people, when you talk about them, and I hear this in my own family. So I have a brother-in-law who teases me about spending my days at Hogwarts. That's what he, like, they seem to think I do. I don't know. But some people will be like, oh, that's just hippy-dippy new age stuff somebody made up. So not true. Chakras can be found in Indian literature all the way back to 1500, 1000 BC. So, you know, way back there. So this is an ancient religious Indian text in the Vedas. So they're also found in the Upanishads, which is another Indian text, and in Buddhist literature and religion. Oh, no problem. I started early, Charlotte. Never apologize to me. But hello, welcome. Thanks for joining us. And hi, Celeste. Hello, everyone. So the chakras are not something that somebody just invented or came up with. They have been around. And I think that with the trend, though, in especially here in America, and I think, you know, I'm in America, so, and I'm sure in the Northern Hemisphere and all around the world, all of our developed countries, Australia, Canada, the UK, we are seeing kind of a surge of this spiritual work and guided path stuff. So I think that's because, you know, with ever-changing technology and our busy lives and our busy worlds, we're all kind of looking for something like to hold on to and say, this can't be everything, right? We can't just get up every day, go to work, buy a bunch of stuff we don't need, eat a bunch of food that's not good for us, and go to sleep and do it again tomorrow. So, you know, I think we're looking for something more. And I think that's why we're seeing this more prevalent. We're hearing about it more often, but it's not something that somebody just invented to kind of, you know, make a buck or pull one over on you or something. It's been around. And so if you ever pick up any of these, the Upanishads is probably the most, I think, kind of, I don't want to say easy to read because it's not easy to read, but kind of the most accessible to those of us who speak English and aren't maybe really well taught on Indian knowledge. I took a whole Indian lit class when I was in college, and I had to read the Upanishads and the Yoga Sutra. And so I would not say that it's something that, you know, you would just read to kick back and relax at all, because it's not. For me anyway, it wasn't. It was like, oh my goodness, what am I reading? But it is there in our historical literature. So it's not something that somebody just made up. So if you hear that from somebody, you know, you can rightfully and knowledgeably say, well, that's just not true. And so that's a little bit of chakra history for you. And so there are some differing opinions on the chakras though. So there are, as we're progressing with our spiritual knowledge and more people are talking about it, historically, there are the seven main chakras, kind of the core chakras through your body. And these days there are people who follow the belief that there are more chakras, divine chakras that kind of, I don't want to say float, but they float above your head. So these chakras above your head that are connecting you to spirit and the divine. And there are some people who believe in those and some who don't. So I'm not here to tell you to believe in them or not to believe in them. And we're not even going to learn about them in this class because this is chakra foundations. And actually most chakra literature that you read or things that you learn about the chakras aren't going to address those because they are kind of something that's still new being discussed. And like I said, those are not rooted in our historical literature. And so that's why there's kind of controversy over them. But so you know, there are the core chakras, and there are the New Age chakras. So they're called the New Age chakras because, you know, they're being discussed in this New Age kind of time that we're living in. So you can choose to follow those or not. It's up to you. But when you do hear, if you hear that in discussion, you know, some people will like, I've heard people say things like, you know, that's just not true. You're falling, you know, you're falling prey to phony science and stuff like that. And I've actually asked a few people to leave our group because they've been so rude and adamant that these chakras don't exist. And that's fine if that's your opinion. But if it's somebody else's, you know, we don't want to put them down for that because, you know, that's not cool. Everyone has their own opinion. So, just so you know, there is some controversy about that. So whichever you believe is fine by me. But if you are talking to somebody about chakras or taking like a Reiki class or you choose to follow this path further, there is that discussion going on just so you're not totally blindsided by it. And you're like, oh my God, I never heard of them. It is something that's out there. Okay, so chakras. Like I said, even though today we talk about the root chakra, the thing I want you to take away the most from today is the idea that chakras function as a system. And the reason I want you to take that away from today the most is that we look at chakras and healing chakras and we talk about like which chakra we're working on. And the central idea here is that, and I use this metaphor in an email, you know, one thing that's wrong with you or your car or like, you know, a hole in a heating pipe in your home, like a pinhole, it's going to mess up everything else. So we have to look at this really as a system. So we do talk about working on one chakra at a time. And the reason we talk about working on one at a time is because it can be really overwhelming to just sit down and focus on all of this spiritual energy and growth all at once. And most of us don't have that kind of time on our hands to just sit down and do all this stuff every single day. So we need bite-sized pieces, right? Fix one thing at a time. But when we keep the idea in mind that everything works as a system, we can think about that as we're doing our kind of spiritual work to align, open, and balance our chakras. So, you know, if you're working on your root chakra, it's important to be grounded and do all this work on the root. But it's also important to remember that this root chakra is fueling the rest of the system. And if you're working on your heart chakra, to remember that that's the connection between the top half and the bottom half of your chakras, and that what you're doing here is actually spreading both ways. So it's, you know, when you are working on one chakra at a time, still remember that this is part of a system and it's impacting everything around it. So we don't want to keep each of our chakras in a total vacuum. We want to be able to remember that everything goes together and everything flows together. So a good way to do that is to keep kind of some kind of imagery handy that has just like the rainbow on it, or an image of all the chakras on it, so that when you're working on one, I'm just looking to see if I have one here. I don't know if I do, but so when you're working on one, you can remember to think of the whole system. And I don't have a thing right here, but I mean, this is not something I would keep, but you know, this is the front of an oracle card deck. So something like this, or on one of the printouts that I sent you for like a cover if you want to print everything out and put it together at the end of the week. There's a strip on the side, or the one where I asked you to color in yourself, you could print that out. And just as you're focusing on one, you have this visual to remember that everything is aligned together, everything works together, and you know, what you're doing in one area impacts everything else. Oh, Dawn, you have this deck. Yeah, I love this deck. And we're going to talk about cards tomorrow in class, so that's super fun. Anybody here who loves cards and oracle cards and tarot cards, we're going to talk about them tomorrow. So remember that when you are working with chakras, they are a system, so keep that in mind. And it's helpful to have that visual so that you don't, you know, get lost in focusing too much on just this one thing and what this one thing is doing for you. And if you guys have any questions or comments, feel free to put them in as I'm talking and I'll answer them for you. I'm trying to have our Facebook group up at the same time in case anything pops up in there, but it's kind of hard for me to focus on both. So everything is a system in our chakra. It's blah, blah, blah. Our chakras function as a system together, so they do not function in single pieces. And so we talked about different opinions. Okay, so another thing that I talked about today in the email is discovering blocks. So there's all different ways to discover blocks, and that's what we're going to talk about throughout the week. So we are going to talk about clearing them also, and in this class, because it just is a foundation class, I give you super simple ways on your printout, which I tried to print one out, but my printer has decided it's only going to print half a page of everything. I'm going to grab mine. Oh, there goes my phone. Oh no. Okay, let me grab my half a page printout, and my phone's falling over again. So, you know, nothing like also starting a class. I really did not think this through. First day of Mercury retrograde, and the holidays are right behind us. So, here's my printer misbehaving on Mercury retrograde. But on your printout, you will see on the top kind of this quick list of items, right? So for the root chakra, we have the element of earth. I've got a list of crystals for you, some different foods you could try, and incense. So incense, you can also use essential oils if you don't like incense, or for me, too much incense like burns my throat. So Desiree, is it too late to get the printouts? If you signed up for the class, it should be in your email. If it's not in your email, then you can go ahead and message me or message the Sisters Enchanted Facebook page or email, or just cut, you know what? If you comment in the group and tag me, that might be the fastest way for me to find you. Anyway, and then I can forward it on to you later tonight, my time. I don't have time right now to forward them to everybody who didn't get them. But if you sign up for the class, you should have the printouts in your email, and check your junk and spam folders, because like 90% of our emails go to junk and spam folders. And if it's still not there, let me know and I will forward it to you later on. Anyway, so we're going to talk about different ways to discover your blocks, and quick and easy ways to clear those blocks would be incorporating some of this stuff into your life. And we'll talk about that more with each chakra. But discovering blocks, we're going to talk about a different method each day. So today's method is, and I know I'm kind of rambling, so I apologize. Hopefully I get more of the straight and narrow over the week. So today's method we're talking about is some self-reflection. So you'll hear the terms blocked, imbalanced, out of alignment, closed, for blocked or closed or out of alignment, chakras, imbalanced. And basically they all pretty much mean the same thing. So you might hear the terms out of alignment, and that's because, you know, again, we work as a system. So when we're in alignment, our system's functioning properly, openly, not having troubles or hiccups. Again, the same with balance. So each chakra spins a certain way, and can spin a certain way depending on if you're male or female. And so you'll hear out of balance if your chakra is not spinning the proper way or is a little bit clogged up or murky, and so it's not spinning fully. So chakras are energy centers that spin within us. And then you'll hear closed when it's not open to receiving energy, and when it's not expelling all of its amazing energy out into you and into the world around you, right? So you'll hear that imbalance, out of alignment, closed kind of terminology, but they really all mean the same thing, that you're just having some kind of issue in that chakra. So I feel heaviness. So if you feel heaviness, I mean, definitely, think about the area in your body where you're feeling heavy. And then I would think about the chakra that aligns with that area of the body. But yeah, heaviness is a really good sign that you are having some kind of chakra imbalance or block, or out of alignment. So before we talk about different ways with our root chakra to get in alignment, we're going to talk about different ways to discover the imbalances and the blocks. So today's method is really easy, self-reflection. Tomorrow we're going to talk about cards. On Wednesday, I think we're talking about pendulums and crystals. And then I forget what's on Thursday. I wrote all of the emails out, but I don't remember them off the top of my head. But tomorrow I think is cards, and then I think pendulums and crystals are Wednesday. So today we're just talking about using some super easy self-reflection. So some ways that you can self-reflect on whether or not your chakra is blocked is just ask yourself some questions about it. So you would go through, and today we're talking about the root chakra. So our root chakra grounds us to the earth. It's what should make us feel safe and secure in our physical environment, in our physical space. And so if you're feeling like really restless or like you can't focus, like kind of like an airy, like, oh, I'm like here, but I'm not here kind of feeling, or, not nurtured in your environment, or like you're not able to nurture others in your environment, or like something in your physical space is just wonky and not right, that's a good sign that you're having issues with that root chakra. So again, that is just a self-reflection piece. So we didn't use any fancy tools. We didn't use any pendulums, crystals, cards. We just like had a conversation with ourselves. And I'm like, how am I feeling today? Am I feeling like, kind of outer body-ish? Am I feeling like I just don't sit right in where I am in my body today, or in my home, or like I just can't stop moving, like I just want to stretch, and like something's not right. So do some self-reflecting. So self-reflecting is like the easiest, quickest way to feeling I'm not belonging, kind of. Yeah. So just like really just not. So your root chakra is like all about really being in your physical space, being in your physical body. And if you are feeling like you're just not okay in that physical space or in your physical body, that's a really good sign that you're not feeling grounded. Because if you're feeling truly grounded, right, you think of a tree. So a tree has a tree trunk, and it has roots and leaves and everything. So if our bodies are the same way, we have these roots into the ground, and our flowering tree would be up here, up in the heavens. So if you're not feeling secure in your life, you're not feeling secure in your body, you're not feeling secure in the physical space around you, that's a sign that your roots aren't like firmly planted in the ground. So you're not firmly grounded. So what happens to a tree when its roots aren't firmly grounded, or like, whatever, it could, if the soil's too wet or it's a big windstorm, that whole tree could come out of the ground and fall over. And that's kind of the idea with us. So if we're not feeling firmly rooted and grounded, that's when we get that like airy-fairy, oh, something's not right. I'm like, I can't focus. I'm super distracted. I just don't feel present in my space. That's when we start to get that feeling, because our roots don't have us firmly grounded into the earth, our root chakra. So doing some simple self-reflection is the easiest way to check on your chakras. So the activity I gave you to do today, today's task, was to, if you could, print out the printout. So you have kind of like ideal chakra colors, and then a blank one, and you can color it in and go through and ask yourself some self-reflection questions. And in the group, there is the album titled Chakra Foundations. And there is some information about each chakra above or below or with each graphic. So if you read, it might be below it on the computer, I'm not sure. But if you read the description for each graphic, you'll get some information about the chakras if you really don't know anything yet. Since I'm giving them to you over the week, this way you have some right there at your fingertips to look at. And just ask yourself some really easy self-reflection questions going through the chakras. And if you feel like you're not really rooted, then your root chakra, you might color that in like a really faint red, or like maybe like a brown red if it's really murky and questionable. And then, the same as you go forward. So for me, a person I get, there's a local reader around here who reads auras, and that's related to your chakras. So last time I worked with her, she noticed that my heart chakra, which is something that makes total sense for me and I'm always working on, was like a really dim green. It was like not bursting out of me. Now I cannot see chakras in the same way that she can. So of course I'm taking her, trusting her on this. But she said that a real open and truly open and balanced heart chakra is going to be, bursting in an emerald green light, just like bright, brilliant emerald. So for me, the heart chakra, I might color that in like a really pale pastel-y green because, and that is true for me. Sometimes that's like the biggest area that I struggle with. So I would probably not color mine a vibrant green. So you want to go through those chakras and do some self-reflection questions. And that is the quickest and easiest way to think about if you are having a block or an imbalance in an area. The question is the root connected to the crown? Well, they're all connected. So that's the thing about them working. Remember, we want them to work they work as a system. So your root chakra, if you're not firmly grounded, your crown chakra isn't going to be able to truly expand and open up. And the thing about the crown chakra, and we look at this as a system, your crown chakra is that, and we're going to talk about this more on Thursday, so I don't want to get too much into it, but your crown chakra is what kind of fits with the light above my head. What connects you to the divine, right? And so for your crown chakra to be truly open and enlightened and receiving, everything else needs to be in alignment. Otherwise, that crown chakra, it can still be functioning, but to have that like the light above my head, like the big glowing, like a really open crown chakra, everything else has to be in alignment and functioning properly. So yes, your root is connected to everything because it's your root. So it's powering everything, and they are all connected anyway. So yes, your root chakra is connected to your crown chakra. So if you're trying to do any kind of spiritual, like intuitive work, you definitely want to work on your ground chakra to get this. Yeah, the car example. So in the email, there's the example of a car. I think I said that if you have like a low tire or a tire that's not balanced and it's a little bit wobbly, when you're driving your car, your whole car is going to shake. Everything's going to shake. But really, it's just this one, like you just need air in one tire. So, that's, if you just put air in that one tire, everything else will stop shaking. And it's the same with your chakras. If you have like a little bit of a blip going on with your throat chakra, everything else is going to be a little bit shaky. And if we can just heal that one area up, then everything else might flow a little bit better. If you're like most people in this day and age, you've got stuff going on everywhere, and it's a constant thing to work on. And that's because we're torn in 100 different directions between what we hear on media and social expectations and families and kids and friends and whatever. We have very little time to just sit and be within ourselves, which is why, like I said in the beginning, there's like this resurgence of talk of the chakras and spiritual work. And some people are like, this is just something that was just made up, which is not the case at all. But I think people are talking about it again because we're living in such a chaotic time, and we're just like, something's not right. Something has to give. And how do I find that within myself? And this is a great way to do that. So it turns out today's task. Oh yeah. So, yeah, if you don't have a printer, you can just, write down your words, and you did comment and it was awesome. You wrote so much. Or you can just draw like circles and color them in. I'm not artistic at all. So for me to draw the chakras would be crazy. I just can't do that. So I would just draw circles and color them in. So today's topic for discovering blocks in our chakras is using self-reflection. So you can use that tool that I gave you, the printout. You can just draw them, write about them, and the photos or the graphics in the album Chakra Foundations in the group to get a little bit of background information on each of the chakras, and just ask yourself some self-reflection questions. Really simple, really easy. And that's the first kind of easiest thing that you can do. So the root chakra, some ways that you can balance your root chakra. So we talked about there's so much that goes into chakras, and we're not talking about it all in this class, but there's deities and archetypes, and there's so much. But in this class, we're just doing the foundations. So the root chakra is associated with the color red. If you're sitting down right now, you're sitting right on your root chakra. So the other thing we're talking about a lot in this class is kind of the more emotional, and spiritual signs that you might be blocked. So there are physical signs as well. So if you are having bowel problems, that would be a sign of a root chakra imbalance. For sure. So there are some physical signs. I don't talk about them so much in this class because I have to provide all these disclaimers about how I'm not a doctor. This isn't legal advice. And so if I talk about the physical stuff, I have to provide more disclaimers. So I don't talk about it so much here. So, but you can think about your physical things too. So if you are feeling like a lot of headaches, you know, you'd want to look at your third eye chakra, for instance. So I think you can use kind of your own self-judgment and your own common sense to think about like where you're having pains and then line that up with the chakra for physical ailments. But, so some of the things for, let me just pull up since I only have my sheet printed out because my printer doesn't like me today. So, it is located right at the base of your pelvic pain tenderness. I was going to get a tattoo of chakra. That's awesome. Yeah. So that is synchronicity at its finest. So you're sitting right on it. So like I said, this is your physical. It grounds you to the earth in your physical space around you. So your 3 lower chakras are your physical chakras. And so the root chakra is really representative of your relationship with yourself and the world around you. So it's like our life-sustaining chakra. So how you relate to your own body, to your physical environment. This could have to do with our careers, our relationship with money, earning money, holding money, spending money. Literally the physical, tangible stuff around us is going to have to do with our root chakra. So it's another thing. Like if you have a like really poor relationship with money and you get it and then you spend it really quickly, that might be something to think about with the root chakra. So, you know, why aren't you feeling grounded in your life so that you can safely, securely save that money instead you're spending it all the time? And believe me, my history is long and I've got lots of stories I could tell you. And I've been there too, where I had I was earning money, making great money, had this fancy job right out of college, and I was spending it faster than I can earn it, like a crazy person. And through magical work and healing my chakras, I have been able to really I had terrible anxiety. I don't claim to have anxiety anymore. I don't feel like I have anxiety anymore. I'm much better relationship with money, all these things. So I'm telling you, if you can work on your chakras, it's one good thing to do for your body and your mind and soul and spirit and everything. So it's all your physical stuff around you. So it's like where our empowerment, our strength, and our growth is all coming from, a lot like the roots of a tree. So when those are weak and they're not dug down deep enough, the tree can fall over. The same with us. So when our root chakra is unbalanced, I already talked about this, but we can have that anxiety, like feelings like we're restless, can't focus, a little bit disconnected or fearful of just, like anything that could happen. So when we're balanced, we would feel safe in our environment, trusting of ourselves and the universe, really nourished in life and at home. So the best way to balance this chakra, and again, I will talk about other ways about incorporating crystals. I saw some questions about incorporating crystals and having other people balance chakras for you. So we are going to talk more about this throughout the week too. But I've been on here for like a while now, so I don't want to keep you guys forever. But the easiest way is to really just get outside. So you're also going to hear me talk a lot about yoga this week. And some people are like, that's crazy. Yoga does not solve everything. And that is another hippy-dippy thing that people say. And you know what? Yoga doesn't solve everything in and of itself. But when you are open to receiving good energy and you're putting out good energy and you're really getting in touch with your body, yoga can be a huge help to you, and it's a huge help to working with your chakras. So getting outside, maybe holding some yoga poses, walking around barefoot, hanging with the trees, that is a great way to soak in that sunlight and get nourished and balance your root chakra. In addition, it's represented by the color red. So some crystals you might want to incorporate would be ruby, garnet, red jasper, bloodstone, coral, rose quartz. Anything red that calls to you, even just earthy elements bring inside. So it is representative of the element of earth. So if you want to bring plants inside, acorns, like where I am, it's dead of winter right now. So literally everything is dead around me, but there's acorns everywhere. I can always bring in acorns. If you live by water, some stones or something from the water around you, that's amazing to bring in. And then foods, if you do eat meat, red meat is, it's a heavy food, but it's a grounding food because it's so heavy. So I wouldn't suggest eating a lot of it because it's really heavy. But if you are a meat eater, red meat does have that grounding. And if you are a vegetarian or vegan, which is amazing for your body and for your chakra system, root vegetables, because they're coming right out of the earth, right? So root vegetables for foods to incorporate into your body. And then the scent of cedar or any earthy tones. So you can do that in incense, essential oils, you can burn them, you can wear them, whatever works for you. So I tend to too much incense and I'm like, I can't breathe. But I love essential oils because you kind of get the same scents and things going on without that dry air feeling. So if you're like me, maybe burn some oil or diffuse some oil or put it kind of on your, what are these called? Those points. There's a word for that. You know what I mean. Anyway, pressure points, I think. Not been so into meat lately. Yeah, I do eat meat, but I lately have not been into red meat at all. Like, at all. Which could be a good sign. Maybe your root chakra is telling you don't need any. But root vegetables, like sweet potatoes, carrots. What other? Beets. Beets are great red food. If you eat a lot of them, if you don't normally eat beets and you eat a lot of beets, don't be surprised if when you go to the bathroom, it's pink, and don't be like scared. That's too much information. But if you've never eaten beets before you start eating them, because I tell you to eat them, it'll turn your urine pink or red. So watch out. So total tangent, side story. So incorporating those red things into your life, getting outside, those are quick and easy ways to work on that root chakra. And as you're doing this stuff though, you want to envision that root chakra part of you opening up and like spreading energy out and up into the rest of yours. So it's like visualize red energy flowing up through your body, right? And flowing down into the earth. So you want to see this red coming up through you, up out of the top of you, and planting you down into the earth. You can sit on your tush because that's where your root chakra is. And again, just envision that kind of red swirling around and like connecting you and pulling you down into the earth, but also sending that same energy up into the universe also. So those are some quick things about the root chakra. And there's so much you can learn, but in a class like this, I just can't tell you everything. So those are some quick ways to look, breathe into that space, exactly. So look, some quick ways to look and see where your imbalances or blocks might be. There's some clarification on terminology for you. We talked a little bit about the root chakra. We talked about functioning as a system, a little bit of history, different opinions, different stuff that's out there. Certain areas are more intense too. Yeah, and it depends on the person also. Like some people, for me, like the biggest thing that I tend to is really my heart chakra. It's like the biggest thing that I struggle with. But other people, that's like not a problem for them. And so they find, you know, that they're impacted in other areas. So it really does depend on the person also, how they're impacted by different external factors, how it impacts them, you know, internally, childhood experiences. So you can read a lot of information about earlier experiences in life and how that, like experiences as a child and things that can happen and how that can lead to blocks and imbalances as an adult in your chakras. But it's really interesting too to see how you can take, you know, two people who've experienced similar things and as adults they function completely differently and aren't impacted the same way. So it really, there isn't really like a one-size-fits-all chakra fix thing. So you really got to find what works for you. So today we talked about doing self-reflection techniques to look at your chakras. Tomorrow we're going to talk about using more tools. And we will, as the week goes on, talk about working with other people to heal your chakras. And we're going to talk about crystals and pendulums and cards and get into that as the week goes on. But today, start easy. Self-reflection is like the quickest, easiest thing you can do without buying anything, without leaving your house, without talking to anybody else. Some really quick self-reflection stuff to work on your chakras and see where you need to be aligned. I think that's a great place for a true beginner to start because you don't have to worry about if you're doing anything right because there is no right way to do it. You just ask, you know, talk to yourself or journal about it. Like, where am I at? Where am I feeling this? And what does this, if I take this feeling, what chakra does that match up with? And does that make sense? And so, you know, it's a real quick beginner's way to work on your chakras. So I think I'm going to leave you with that today. If you have any questions at all or comments, anything you want to know more about, please put it in the comments here so that I can see it and, you know, talk more about it throughout the week. So I will see you tomorrow. I think I'm going to be here early tomorrow because I have to take my car in. Mercury retrograde, the shade the week before, has not been good to me. I had my car radio broke. I had a bank account that I haven't used in 6 months that I like didn't even remember that I had, that charged me a dormancy fee because there was no money in there, and then they charged me a fee. Then it overdrew and charged me money every single day for being overdrawn, because I had this dormancy fee because it was dormant and I didn't know there was that thing. I didn't even think about it. So I had that letter in the mail. My car radio just doesn't work all of a sudden. It won't turn on or anything. My printer, I tried twice, is only printing half pages of things. I have an Oracle deck that just walked away. It's just gone. I have no idea where it is. It disappeared. I have a nice malachite crystal. Nowhere to be found. So anyway, I don't know what got me thinking about this Mercury retrograde. Oh, I gotta take my car in tomorrow. So I will be on before 2 o'clock tomorrow. Actually, now that I mention it, probably more like 1:30-ish. So I'll put that in the email though, so that everybody knows about it and in the group. And that is it. So thank you. Yeah, Reiki and chakras have a lot to do with each other too. So it's really cool. And thank you guys for being here. So questions, put them in the comments. I'll answer them when I see them. And I will talk to y'all in the group throughout the day. And I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. All right. Bye.